Sipping on a latte, why they all call me bougie? Bougie, bougie, I don't want no prayers from no haters. Probably waiting on my downfall, mad that we made it in my wins on time. Why you trying to delay it? And they say it's authentic, but they wins look plated. They fake though, and I need all my cheese, queso, provolone, and get all of my dogs out the trap like Home Alone. And Creed said I'm locked in, I really got no options. Standing on business, I need mines off the top then. Let them go ahead and count us all out. We just running up the numbers, watch us hit another level. Hey, hey, can't hold me back. Put the city on the map, boy, how you love that? Boy, they thought that I was playing, but I hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level, gotta hit another level. Hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Hit another half meal, mixing bass and treble. Locking up the game like a Rico when it's federal. Locked on my target, it's a rap if I aim at you. You rather me pray with you. Hood, please pay attention like hood. Focus on your mission like you should. If you had some vision, then you could, but you don't, so you won't. And you chasing that life, that's good, brother. Hold up, I need mine, please. You can't hold me. I'ma go ahead and hit another level. Go ahead and count us all out. We just running up the numbers, watch us hit another level. Hey, hey, can't hold me back. Put the city on the map, boy. How you love that? Boy, they thought that I was playing, but I hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level, gotta hit another level. Hit another level. About to hit another level, had to hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Finna hit another level. Hey, hit another level. Yeah, that's off the dome. Off the dome. Yeah. Yeah, I never let nobody with no motion try to hold me. I'm an OG, and that's the old me. The way I'm sitting nowadays, I'm money stacked 9 ways. I'm sipping on a latte. Why they all call me bougie, bougie, bougie? I don't want no prayers from no haters. Probably waiting on my downfall. Mad that we made it in my wins on time. Why you trying to delay it? And they say it's authentic, but they wins look plated. They fake though, and I need all my cheese, queso, provolone, and get all of my dogs out the trap like Home Alone. And Creed said I'm locked in. I'm really got no options. Standing on business, I need mines off the top then. Let them go ahead and count us all out. We just running up the numbers, watch us hit another level. Hey, can't hold me back.
Welcome to today's webinar. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen, we had technical difficulties. We are only 21 minutes late. That is not bad, right? The girl would still be sitting there waiting for dinner. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about retirement planning strategy. We just want to start doing webinars. We want to start do educational things to put out information that could hopefully help someone. I'm doing this from my office here with MyLife Financial, but I'm also doing it with my personal brand podcasting, The Jared Briggs Show. So kind of collaborating everything together right here to bring more education to people. Now, everything that we share here is just educational stuff only. There is no, this is how you have to do things. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in there's only one right way. These are some things that I've learned over the last coming on 10 years and something that I enjoy, something that I use. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's perfect. So this is just some information to help you guys understand more products and tools out there. One thing about it is there is a lot of financial tools and resources in this world, and they were all made for a purpose, and we need to find what the purpose is and exploit that purpose for our benefit and our gain. So let's jump right into it. I made an illustration to be able to show this. We're going to pop it up on the screen right here. We're going to get rocking and rolling talking about this for anybody listening, for anybody watching. All right, here we go. It worked. Holy crap, it worked. Me and Austin were sitting here. Oh, man. Some words were said. Okay, so this is a insurance policy. You're going to look at this. It's going to be a whole life insurance policy. There are a lot of different life insurance policies out there. This one is a whole life insurance policy set up for the purpose of growing and building cash using the paid up additions rider. If any of you have ever heard of that or heard these terms, you may have heard farming without the bank, ranching without the bank, business without the bank, infinite banking. All of those different topics are what we are showing here. Is everything working? Oh, not working at all?
Well, like on our streaming. It's working on Zoom, but it's not working on
The stream.
the streams, yeah. Which I can mess with that a little bit.
Give us just a second. And we will get right. Oh, it shows live?
It is showing live, but
This one is a whole life insurance policy. This one is a whole policy set up. This one is a whole life insurance
we may not be able to do it over.
And that's all right.
Can you talk?
Yeah. after the technical difficulties again. Okay, it should be working, right? Okay. Yep, it's repeating. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here again. We will try this again. The first time's always the roughest, right? But done is better than perfect. So at least we're doing it. Can you turn it just a slight more? There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a whole life insurance policy. We're going to go through some of the details on here. Now, I built it for the purpose of retirement planning strategy with someone, a male. I actually just put my name on here. You'll see it right here. Jared Briggs, age 30, standard smoker. All right, so this is on somebody that is 30 years old. I'm not 30 years old. That was a couple years ago. But this is a standard non-smoker based on health rating. We can talk about those things. But if somebody was 30 years old and they started investing $500 per month into this policy, what would it do? What are the true benefits? What could it help somebody in their life accomplish? That is the goal here. Now, this illustration right here is going to go through guaranteed values, non-guaranteed values. We're going to focus on the non-guaranteed values over here. Now, one thing you can look at is you can say, okay, guaranteed, it's going to do this. We hope it does this. We'll go more into detail on that. I'm going to start by talking about the premium being $500 per month, which shows $6,000 per year, which is right here. And that continues on down there. You eventually see that the premium decreases. Now, if you guys wonder why I'm looking over here, it's because this is where my screen is. I don't have the very perfect, wonderful setup yet, but we're working on that. Okay, so this is where my screen is. So I got you. Now, the $6,000 yearly premium, this total surrender value is the cash value that is available. Now, if you've heard anybody ever talk about the cash value, that's what this is. The cash value is what is available to you to borrow against the policy. You could pull all the cash value out and suspend the policy. You could borrow all the cash value out and go do other things that you want to do. And I'm going to show you the benefit of investing your money here and then using the money throughout your lifetime. That is going to be the real benefit here of the retirement planning. Now, this total surrender value on the guaranteed side and the total surrender value on the non-guaranteed side. You're going to see the dollar amounts are different. This over here is anticipating a dividend being paid. This over here is anticipating no dividend being paid. So this is saying, hey, no matter what, you're guaranteed going to get this, but these companies are really good at paying dividends, and we have a very good chance of this happening. So I always look at the non-guaranteed side because we're like, hey, we have a very good chance of this policy performing this way. My wife has a policy that is 7 years old now, and the numbers that you see over here on her policy, it actually performed slightly better than anticipated. We thought it would take longer for it to perform really well. It did it a couple years sooner, but there's no guarantee, right? Okay, the total surrender value is the cash value account. Now, this is built on a life insurance policy, so you see the total death benefit. So if this gentleman passed away when he was 35 years old, it's anticipating guaranteed 296, hypothetical 298 is the total death benefit. Now, it is built on a death benefit. I actually had an appointment this last Friday where the gentleman said, hey, can you actually make it so all of the money goes into the cash value? I don't want the death benefit. No, we cannot do that. We actually have the policy set up to where very minimal goes into the base of the policy to build the death benefit, and as much as possible goes into the cash value, the total surrender, the paid up additions of the policy to make it perform the best. I explain it this way. If you were to build a house that was 3,000 square feet, but you only poured a foundation that was 2,800 square feet, you got 200 feet of overhang, you're going to have a problem, right? Things are going to start crashing and falling, and you're going to have cosmetic issues. You're going to have to hire contractors. It's going to be a complete mess. This life insurance policy is very similar. We have to put enough money into the base of the policy to build it so it can handle the amount of cash that it is going to carry. And that's where this growth really comes in. So we set the policy up so very minimal goes into the base, just enough to build the base of the policy, and we stuff the rest in the paid-up additions to get that growth, that cash, the dividends, the interest, all of those things. All right. So if this person started investing $500 per month, which is $6,000 per year, I did that number because it's very common. And if you look at somebody that does a traditional retirement account, pulling it out of their paychecks or investing themselves, this is pretty similar, depending on wages, of course. But all the numbers that I've ran throughout the years, people will invest $200 to $600, $800 a month out of their paychecks and different things that they have going on. And so this is a pretty apples to apples comparison of what somebody will invest over their lifetime. Now, one of the benefits that I want to share here is this total surrender value right here is always tax-free. We actually have the policy set up to do that. There's a thing called MEC, Modified Endowment Contract. If we pass the MEC, cross over the MEC limit, we will actually be taxed on the growth and the benefit we get from this policy. So this policy is set up to say, hey, we never want to cross the MEC limit. We never want to be taxed on the growth. We never want to be taxed on the death benefit. We never want any taxes on this policy. So if we go down and start looking at this total surrender value, let me just give you a hypothetical of a complete retirement planning strategy. So this individual is going to invest $500 per month, which is $6,000 per year. And let's just say at the age of 65, which is the traditional retirement, which is right here, it is anticipating a $336,000 cash benefit, guaranteed $216. So you're like, all right, we're going to be somewhere between $216 and $336. I always look more towards the non-guaranteed side because they're very common at performing that way. But look what also has happened to the death benefit, which is the life insurance policy of this. $692,000 or guaranteed $458. But this policy, because we're putting so much money into the paid-up additions, growing and leveraging that money, instead of the dividend being paid out to the client, right? Like if you buy Coca-Cola stock, you can be like, hey, I want the dividend paid to me. And then you take that dividend, you can buy more stock, or you can live off that money. Coca-Cola is one example that pays a dividend. This policy performs similar, where we're saying, hey, we actually don't want the payment. So we're saying, hey, this $6,963 that they're anticipating for the dividend, we've actually told it to go back into the policy to purchase more life insurance and to increase the total surrender value, which is the cash value. So you can see here that by the time they're in their 60s, we're in the 300s, 70s, we get into the 400s, late 70s, we cross into the 600s, then the 700s. By the time they are 88 years old, they are anticipating $1 million in total surrender value, which is cash value. Now, why is that important? How could we use this as a retirement planning strategy? Remember that I said that this money is completely tax-free. So let's say this person got into retirement ages are extending, especially with the cost of inflation and stuff. So let's say this person's like, I'm actually going to work until 75. I'm going to put it in another 10 years, pay into all of these things, continue my income. I'm not going to pull anything. Then they increase to $561,000. And let's say they're like, I need $75,000 in retirement. I'm just going to do the math here. 561,005 divided by 75,000. Okay, so that's 7.4 years of money. That's without any growth, all right? So I'm just going to share that. So let's say this person is like, hey, I'm going to take a lump sum January 1st of $75,000 to supplement my retirement income. Remember, I shared with you that it is tax-free. So they would take out that $75,000. There would be no FICA taxes, which is Social Security and Medicare. There would be no income. There would be no taxes at all on the $75,000. The reason why is because it is a loan against your policy. So what happens when you take a loan against your policy is the life insurance company actually looks at how much cash you have available in your policy, And they give you on your statement, when you log into your policy, they're going to show you how much you have available to loan. Let's scroll back up here. When do we get to 100,000? Just for easy numbers. All right, right here. So let's say at 46, this person's like, I need $100,000. You actually do not take your $100,000 out of the policy. The life insurance company uses that $100,000 as collateral, and they give you $100,000 of their money. So your money stays in the policy. Okay? Now there is an interest rate. So you do have an interest on that money. But you got to remember, we are growing at an interest, and we are also growing with a dividend. Okay, so you have your money growing with interest, very common, 4 to 6% growth, plus you've got your dividend that it's paying out every single year. So let's say your interest is 5.2%. You're growing at a 4 to 6% interest rate, and you're getting a dividend. So your money actually stays in the account. It stays in the total surrender value account, and you borrow against that using your money as collateral. The life insurance company gives you $100,000 of their money. Now, why is that important? Why is that a benefit? I want you to think about if you had $100,000 sitting in a money market account at your local bank, wherever you bank, and it was earning 4% interest. If you take that $100,000 out of there, you are now earning 0% interest because you took the money out of there. It is not earning interest anymore in a traditional bank, in a traditional retirement accounts, in any of these places. That money has to stay there for you to continue to earn interest. Therefore, you can't use the money. You're going to be putting money in there every single month, every single year for the rest of your life, and you cannot touch it or you lose the ability to earn interest. You can touch it, but you lose the ability to earn interest. With it sitting in this life insurance policy, and you borrow that money out, that gives you the money to be able to use, and it is still earning interest, and it is still earning a dividend. Now, let's say we get down into the 75, okay? And look at, we go from 561, we pay a premium of $25.46, and we go to $589. So we grew $28,000, and we only put in $2,500. This is where you really need to start looking at the illustration of like, holy crap, I put in $2,500, but I grow over $20,000, and it continues to happen. So that's why I said I did the math of if you pulled out the money, you only have 7.4 years of interest. That's not planning on you paying the premium, and that's not planning on the dividend and the growth of this policy. So you're going to have money for a very, very, very long time. All right? Now, let's say you get down to, let's say this person lives a long time. Let's say they pass away at 99 years old. They anticipate 1.5, almost 1.6 million in cash value, 1.645 in death benefit. Let's say this person had borrowed $1 million to supplement their retirement income. So over the course from 75 till 99, they have borrowed $1 million from their policy. Okay? And in that time, it did have an interest. What did I say? 5.2%. So what's going to happen is there is a death benefit here, and it is greater than the cash value. So what happens when this person passes away is the life insurance company is going to look at their total death benefit, 1.645, so $1,645,000, and they have used $1 million from their surrender value, their cash value policy. Remember, that $1 million was completely tax-free. Now, I'm going to overemphasize that because I don't think you guys realize the benefit of having tax-free income, whether in retirement, outside of retirement, right now, doesn't matter. Tax-free money is very, very valuable. Pretty common is 20 to 35% taxes depending on where you live. Well, $1 million, let's say your tax bracket's 30%, you're going to lose $300,000 of that just to taxes. In this system, you're going to pull out $1 million and you're going to pocket all $1 million. Okay? What happens is the life insurance company says, all right, we owe them $1,645,000, but this person took $1 million in debt, in cash value, in total surrender value. So they're going to take the $1 million plus interest. So however the time frame, however long, they're going to take $1 million plus the interest that has built up over that time frame. And they're going to keep that money. So let's say interest, let's just say $150,000. So they've used $1,150,000. Let's just say it built up $150,000 in interest. And we minus $1,645. So their family has a benefit of $495,000. So what happens is the life insurance company owes $1,645,000. The person borrowed $1 million but owes $150,000 in interest. The life insurance company is going to keep $1,150,000 and send the rest to the beneficiaries, whether it be a wife, a spouse, kids, an estate, a charity, anything. But let's say they leave $495,000. That is also tax-free to the beneficiary of the money. So let's say this was me, for example, and I left it to my 2 kids. My kids, divided by 2, would each get $247,500 completely tax-free. 100% tax-free. I had tax-free income in retirement, took out $1 million, and then I left just shy of $250,000 per kid tax-free for them as well. This is the benefit of what this policy can do, let alone leverage, let alone dividend and growth, access to cash tax-free, and leaving money behind to family tax-free. Now, this is one thing that I really enjoy about this strategy and why I currently participate in this. My wife and my kids, we all own policies. The reason why is because it grows tax-free, I can access it tax-free, and I can leave it behind to my family tax-free. If I put money in a traditional retirement account, I maybe get a tax benefit up front, but every time I touch my money, I pay taxes. If I touch my money before 59 and a half, I get penalties and taxes. If I don't start touching my money at a certain time, they make me start touching my money, which is called required minimum distributions. And any money that I leave over to my kids or my beneficiaries or my estate or a charity or anything of the sort, they are gonna owe taxes on that money. Gift tax, income tax, FICA tax, all of them. All of them are gonna have taxes on them, okay? Another thing is I wanna scroll back up to the other part of the illustration. Oh, there we go. Austin was fixing something real quick. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we'll touch on that again, but I just love emphasizing how powerful that is in taxes, in cash, in retirement, in value, in leaving money behind to family, friends, loved ones, charity, anything that's important to you. It's your money. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Something else that I want to point out here is I want you to think about throughout your lifetime. You buy houses, you buy cars, you buy campers, you buy boats, you buy four-wheelers, you buy vacations, you buy X, Y, and Z. There is an unreal amount of consumer items that we buy, which there's nothing wrong with it. They are created by man. They are created by God. They're incredible. If you want to buy a Ferrari, freaking go for it. They're super cool. You can accomplish anything. But I want you to think about how many of these things that we finance throughout our lives. You know, vehicles nowadays, if you want a pretty nice family vehicle that is brand new or a couple years old, I mean, it doesn't take very much to equal $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 and higher in the expense of these vehicles or items that we purchase. Well, statistically, very common, we finance those things with our local credit union, our local bank, with credit cards, however we use debt Now, debt isn't a bad thing. There is a value of debt, okay? But we got to learn how to use debt properly. And a lot of times, what I see is people are using this consumer debt. They have debt on their vehicles, they have debt on their toys, they have debt on their house, they have debt on every item that they own in their life. Who is the one earning the interest on those things? Let's say you could go to the local place and borrow a car or borrow $50,000 to go buy a car, and it's 6.2% interest rate. Well, a 6.2% interest rate, every penny of that goes to the credit union or the bank. They are making interest on that hand over fist by millions and millions and millions and millions of cars. I want you to look at this policy from a perspective of, okay, we're going to start investing here for the purpose of retirement planning. But how could we use it even further and even greater? Look at the amounts down here. By age 40, so 10 years into this policy, they are anticipating a cash value of $51,000 or $55,000, somewhere in between. Let's just say it's 55. Well, what if you were going to borrow money from a credit union and they want 6.2% interest, but you could borrow it from here, let's say at the time it's 5.8% interest, okay, or 5.2 like we said earlier. You could borrow the full $55,000, go pay cash for the vehicle, and now instead of making payments back to a credit union or a bank, you could make payments back into your policy. You could be like, hey, our payment with the bank was going to be $850 a month. We're going to put $850 a month back into our policy. And you just saved yourself a percent interest. Now, the other beautiful part is you are the banker. You own this loan. Yes, the life insurance company gave you the money. Yes, they're charging you an interest rate. But your death benefit is always going to cover that loan. So you can set the terms of the payment. You can pay it back in a year. You can pay it back in 5 years. You can pay it back in 6 months. If you have a tight month and you can't make the $850 payment, you can, hey, we're only going to pay $350 this month. Next month, we're going to get right back on the $850 train. The other beautiful part about this is every time you make a payment back into this policy, it is available for you to borrow again. So let's say 12 months down the road, you've paid $10,000 back into this policy, and you come across an enclosed trailer or a toy or an investment or a real estate property or stocks or bonds or whatever the case. And you're like, hey, I need 10 grand. Oh, I got $10,000 in my policy again. We got this car that we purchased. We're paying back. I'm going to go borrow that $10,000 again and then make payments back again. And so now you are the banker. Now, instead of the interest being paid to the banks and the credit unions and the mortgage companies and the credit card companies, it is you that is setting the terms of this policy. Well, look as you go. You're going to make another premium payment. It's going to grow your cash. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to grow. Even if you've borrowed $55,000, you're still going to get the growth from here to here and here to here and here to here, even if the money's borrowed out of it, because they took collateral, right? Your money's still sitting there. So you're still getting interest growth, and you're still getting dividend growth, and you're still paying your premium. So look how much money is being funneled into this policy. You get that car paid off. Let's say you're down here and you get the car paid off by year 44, so it took you 4 years. Well, now you got $89,000 available. You can use that to buy real estate property. You can use it to do a number of different things. While you are investing for retirement, while you are investing for your future, you have access to the money at the same time. You always have access to the money. It is your money. Nobody tells you how much you can put into it. Nobody tells you when you can access it. Nobody tells you when you have to access it. Nobody taxes you on it. Nobody controls anything that you do with this account. There is a massive benefit to be able to plan for a future, for a better future, and also have access to the money at the same time. You could finance your vehicles like we use as an explanation. and a number of other things that you want to do throughout your life. I look at this, there's no reason to hold an emergency fund in your bank account anymore, because if you stick your money in here, you're getting a dividend and you're getting an interest growth. And if you need access to the money, you still have access to the money. If an emergency comes up, yes, within 24, 48, 72 hours, depending on weekend and holidays and time frames and stuff, you can have access to this money within 24 to 72 hours. It's literally like logging into a bank account, clicking request a loan, type in the amount, make sure it's attached to your bank account, or if they're going to mail you a check, however you want to do it, click submit. As soon as it's processed, money's going to hit your account. And you have access to that money for emergencies, for anything that you want in your life. Making a payment back is just as easy. There's a section where you can say, I'd like to make a premium payment, or I'd like to make a loan payment, or I'd like to request a loan. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to pay $850 a month, you select the option that says loan payment, type in the dollar amount, make sure it's attached to the right bank account, hit submit, money transfers from your bank account, paid back into your policy, just like you're paying a mortgage company, a car loan company, a credit card company, any of those things. It works the exact same way. But now every time you make a payment back into the policy, you have access to that money again. Okay? So you scroll down through here, and you see these numbers, guaranteed or non-guaranteed. You see these numbers throughout your 40s, 50s, 60s. You have access to multiple figures, 100. And when we get into the 200 range by 56, and it continues on from there. Okay, any money borrowed that's not paid back, you're going to owe back with interest. They'll take it out of your death benefit. Now, think of how powerful this is. I'm going to share it from my perspective. If I can teach my kids how valuable this system is, and I use this for my life planning, I use it for my retirement planning, everything's tax-free. And let's say I think about when my kids pass away. They're going to leave their kids $500,000 or $1 million tax-free, and they teach their kids to do it. Think of the generational planning. Think of the generational wealth. If you have a family business, if you have a family estate, if you have a farm, if you have a ranch, any number of those things, how incredible would it be to leave your family tax-free money, teach them proper management of this money, and use it to leverage business, ranching, farming, family generational trees. It'll change everything. It'll change everything for your family. One of the biggest problems in today's world is leaving things behind, and then they have to figure out how to pay for it, and the taxes and the operating and all of those things that come with it. Well, this is a system and a strategy to have tax-free income, tax-free access to money, tax-free money left behind that can be poured into your estate and used for the purpose of growing your life. Okay? Not only is this a great retirement planning strategy, it's a strategy that you can use for the rest of your life. Now, that is what I had planned to share. Is there any questions? Is there anybody watching? Here, you can take over. I'm actually going to pull it up like on Facebook, see if there's any questions or comments or... And there might not be, since it took us a minute to get it rolling. Yeah, no comments or questions there. All right. You guys, that is the retirement planning strategy. If you have questions about this strategy, if you want to learn more, if you want me to, or somebody in the team to build you a strategy based on a specific dollar amount, based on your age, based on all of those things, it takes that long. It is super easy. Give MyLife Financial a call, 435-557-3170. You can even just text retirement planning strategy, and we'll text back, schedule an appointment, get some information, send you an illustration what it would look like for you. If you're 32, 27, doesn't matter. This strategy is for everyone. But I got to let you know that it is based off a life insurance policy. So there is an application process, there is an approval process, there is an underwriting process. So you're going to have to go through a bunch of medical questions. They may require a medical exam, and which involves a urine test and a blood test, all paid for by the life insurance company. All you got to do is just do it. And then they're going to put that into underwriting, and they're going to look at your financials. They're going to look at your health rating, and they're going to look at everything that they've collected and give you a rating. You might qualify for the standard rating. You might qualify for the preferred plus. They may say, hey, you applied for a $600,000 death benefit, investing $15,000 a year. We're going to approve you at a $500,000, so that'll hold $13,000 a year. Like, we just got to go whatever your financials are. It's based on your net worth and your health. We don't know what it's going to be till we submit those things. There's no cost until you say, yep, that's the one. I want to issue it. So if you'd like to look at what this is, give MyLife Financial a call, 435-557-3170. Again, that is 435-557-3170. And you can even text us retirement planning strategy, and we will schedule an appointment with you to get you some information. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that gave you something to just chew on and look at and reevaluate your financial life for educational purposes. There is no one right way. There is no perfect way. This is another tool that used correctly can be very beneficial. But I'll be honest with you. If you buy one of these policies and do not use it for what it can do, you are wasting money. It's a very, very specific plan. Used properly can be very, very good. You guys have a great day. Have a blessed day. Have a wonderful week. And thank you for tuning in with MyLife Financial. We'll catch you guys next time.